one morning, I literally woke up, woke up out of sleep. I was only 25.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make a fist. The ancient inhabitants of this planet had it right. They had the original fast food, right? They just picked it. When I was 21 years old, I'm in the south of France doing a service mission.
Yeah.
And I see people lined up. And I had heard that there were pilgrimages,
Right.
thousands and thousands of people coming to this little city wanting to drink the water, bathe in the water, get in the water of this healing spring. And they tested the water and realized it had high concentrations of molecular hydrogen.
Yeah.
Within 2 months of drinking it every day, about 1.5 liters a day,
Yeah.
I was completely off ibuprofen.
Okay, so welcome to the Drake Michigan podcast, and I'm delighted to have Craig Smith with us today from Whole Hydrogen. I'm looking forward to learning a lot more about a product that I came across around 12 months ago. I was watching some Santos Bonacci syncretism videos, getting into that, and I came across a video with Santos and Greg, the Hydrogen Man, I believe he's called, and I was like, whoa, why have I never heard of this before? And what are they keeping from us again? And what am I drinking? So I remember getting in touch with Craig and asked him a few months ago if he would be kindly enough to come onto the podcast and explain how he got on this journey himself. So yeah, Craig, you tell me what happened.
I really appreciate it. Anthony's so great to be here, and thanks for inviting me. Every single person here, really is on a quest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because we all know, and it's sometimes more acutely known, that we only get, one life here.
Yeah.
One. And we get this one body. And as a real young man, I mean, I grew up in Colorado in the mountains near Boulder, Colorado. My friends and I would go rappelling. We were crazy, jumping off mountains and rappelling down. And we had a blast. I was very active, enjoyed the outdoors, and things just kind of come along in life that you don't expect. And I remember very, very early on, when I was around 25 years old, I remember waking up one morning. It was rapid onset. I'd heard of these types of things, like with alopecia and things, where people would wake up and all of their hair on their entire body was in their bed.
Yeah, I've heard that.
From every eyelash to hair, but it just happened so fast. Well, I had a similar thing happen, except not with my hair, but with my joints. One morning, I literally woke up out of sleep. I was only 25.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't bend these middle fingers, and the rest would barely bend. And I couldn't make a fist. And I mean, that's just so, you're just used to moving,
That must have been frightening, Craig. That must
have
been
it was a great word. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think of the listeners, and each one of them in their own way are probably, or they know someone who's experienced or experiencing a major health challenge. And that was such a wake-up call, because kind of at 25, I felt indestructible a little bit, everything's fine. I'm going to live forever. Nothing's going to go. And then all of a sudden I can't make a fist. I can't even, as hard as I'm concentrating. And, it was very painful. And I reached out to, my wife. We went into doctors. Of course, I'm asking God why, and why me? And even though there's people that have it, of course, so much more difficult. But for my 25-year-old brain, that was my whole world. And
of course it is. Yeah.
And that set me on a path. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at 25 years old. And in my world, that's like an old person disease, right? That's
exactly. Yeah.
90-year-olds, and it couldn't be for a 25-year-old active, energetic guy. Well, I got some advice from the doctor. Said, man, you got to get moving some more, get more active,
Mhm.
uh, more, cardio movement, just get blood flowing. Right. And
Did it just affect your hands, Craig? Was it just your hands?
it was my hands. I could feel it in my feet a little bit. It's a mirroring effect. So what happens in one side happens in the other. So it was primarily in my hands, but I could, kind of feel it in my elbows, my knees, my ankles, my
Right.
toes, but it wasn't as pronounced.
Okay.
It primarily manifested in, in my
In your
hands.
hands. Was it very painful as well, or was it
Yeah.
just that you couldn't? Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty painful. I mean, and everybody can, deals with different levels of pain, and people manage
Yeah.
pain differently. But it was just the awkwardness of trying to grab a glass,
Yeah.
and
I
you
can
just
imagine.
say, I'm just grabbing a glass, grabbing a drink or just anything.
Mhm.
And I started getting active. I started eating better, and I started really looking into health because I
Okay.
had never really considered it. Right? I was 25.
You don't at 25. You're
Yeah,
indestructible, like you say.
yeah, exactly. You could eat anything, I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I didn't take my health real seriously at all. And gratefully, uh, over time, I believe through the exercise, I did get on a medication, which I'm grateful for medications. But here's the thing: I didn't want to be on a medication. I don't
No.
think anybody wants to be on medications, even though there's some really fantastic life-saving medications.
Yes.
And I came across one, and it helped. And luckily, through the changes, and all of a sudden, my changes, the doctor saying, "Oh, we got to keep you on this level of medication." I was like, and they were doing blood tests every month on me because the side effects could cause blindness.
Oh my word.
Yeah, and so I mean, so you're playing Russian roulette a little bit with your health with these medications, and I'm like I said, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist or really focus on some of that, but I kind of believe there's folks out there that really would like all of us to be, whether it's on some medication, right?
Well,
Because there's
well,
money, there's
it's not
power,
about
there's
conspiracy
control,
theory. That's
right?
fact.
That's
That's absolute.
right. I mean.
Let's be honest. The past 3 years have proven quite a lot in that respect.
Yeah,
So
when people are making billions and building, when you can invent the disease and then you also can have the cure as well and get paid, uh, it
yeah,
it was frustrating, and I was looking for more natural approaches from just drinking more water, exercising. I was looking just get out in the air, right? I mean, you think of a flower, they get air, water, and sunshine.
yeah,
I mean, you plant a raspberry seed in a little plant,
yeah,
you give it air, water, and sunshine, and it does its
yeah.
miracle. And
Absolutely.
maybe we're more like the flowers than we think, and all we really need is a little more air, clean water, clean air, right?
Yes.
And some sunshine. We're so used to slathering on the sunscreen, and the sun's not the enemy.
Well, there's another conspiracy to we could
Right, right. It's how about, get some vitamin D every day
exactly. Yeah.
and let the body renew and regenerate. And so I luckily, gratefully, however you want to say it, and through the process of researching and starting get in this natural health and natural health remedies started
Yeah.
really setting me on a path for about 22 years. I
Wow.
went I went searching because gratefully, whether it was this combination of eating better, exercising, getting outside, more water,
Yeah.
whatever was happening, I essentially went into remission. But
Right.
which I was grateful. They call it remission, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means it's lurking, right? It's going to just pounce on you. I
Yeah.
always felt like it was going to be
That's a great word.
right, ready just to jump
Yeah.
out at you in any
You
minute.
still kept in the negative with that, Craig, aren't you? It's like,
Right, right. Because I'm thinking I'm going to wake up one morning and it's going to be back, and I'm not going
Yeah.
to be able, but my joints never recovered. I mean, fully recovered. I mean, they've been aching, for a really long time. But it was, I could make a fist. I could at
Okay.
least make a fist and kind of get, into that stage. And I think of, the listeners, and they're all, thinking whatever their version of that is in their life or their loved ones' lives of not being able to do and be and be active. And, and I was looking at everything, and vitamins, minerals, nitric oxide, Korean red ginseng.
Yeah.
I was looking at everything, and I got in the health and wellness industry, specifically in a natural products division, and helped bring, I don't know, about 100+ products to market that were all science-based, natural based, as clean and as organic as we can get it. That's another whole issue. Just trying to figure out what is
Oh,
organic, even at the store that says organic.
absolutely.
Like, so,
Yeah, definitely.
it's difficult, and this journey that we're on. I ultimately came to believe, as a mentor told me once, that we believe health is a habit, not an event.
Hmm.
And that the body doesn't know its chronological age. It only acts its biological age, right? The body is the miracle.
Yeah.
All it needs are the proper raw materials. And through this process of coming together and understanding, I believe I found, in my opinion, the best raw material
Right.
I've ever come across, which has made a significant difference in my life. Because through all of this,
Yeah.
these challenges, my joints were killing me.
Yeah.
I would like to be active. I wanted to go to the gym, lift. I like, curling some weights, and that was just a nice release and getting the endorphins. But I would come home every night and rub the knuckles of each finger, kind of rotate my wrists. And my wife would look at me, every night while we're watching a show or something. And I did the bad thing. I went to the cupboard and got the ibuprofen. And, for some, they're screaming at the screen, right? Say, don't do that. But I was taking sometimes 800 milligrams 3 times a day.
Yeah,
And
I can understand where you're coming from, Craig. I mean, just to, I won't go into it too much detail, but
please,
my partner, my life partner, she's been on fentanyl for 8 years, and various other big pharma medications that
right.
they've been throwing at her, and it's awful what they do. It's
Yeah.
awful what they do. But when you're in so much pain, you're looking for an answer, and that's your education. That's what you've been told is the answer.
Right. Well, and the answer is this pill, right?
Yes,
And the
exactly.
answer is, boy, and often it does provide that temporary relief. Like happened with me early on. It helped me be able to close my fingers. This medication they gave me, and I slowly titrated off myself.
Yeah,
The doctor said, "Well, you need to take this much," and I said, "I don't want to take that much." I mean, I was a bit of a rebel, but I was looking. I didn't want to be dependent on a medication, right? And like
yeah, definitely.
you mentioned, your life partner, you don't want to do that, for a lot of reasons. And I discovered this raw material, if you will, and since using it, I have not been on a single ibuprofen for my joints,
Wow,
not a single one. And I can sit here and I can go to the
amazing.
gym and I can move my fingers like I'm back in my 20s.
Yeah,
And if I hadn't experienced it, because I've been dealing with it since I was 25 years old,
yeah.
it's not some placebo effect, right? I
No, no.
definitely know the difference, with that, having been in the health products industry for over 22 years and coming across this raw material. Because ultimately we're the account managers of this body, if we think of it that way, right? And we're either making deposits or withdrawals with what we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
And this idea of discovering molecular hydrogen, to me, is the best deposit I know of. I mean, for me, it represents a totally new age in biological optimization, anti-aging, performance, and overall health.
How did you come across it then, Craig? What's the
Yeah,
story then? What
yeah,
happened?
yeah. I think we have to go back in time a little bit to
Yeah.
the ancients. It seems like the ancient inhabitants of this planet had it right. They had the original fast food, right? They
Yeah.
just picked it and ate it. I mean, talk about the original fast food, and
Working with nature, you mean?
right, working with nature and getting back closer to a more natural answer. I mean, they have the original fast food. They pick it, they eat it. The color meant something.
Hmm.
The shape meant something. I mean, they would crack a walnut and we look at a walnut and it looks like a little tiny brain.
It does.
And studies show that walnuts are great brain food. You take a carrot, you cut it in half, and it looks like an eye
Right.
with the pupil and the radiating lines. And
Yeah, yeah. You've
hmm,
been told. Yeah.
yeah, and they're thinking maybe carrots are an offering from the gods for the eye, right? You
Yeah.
look at the tomato, you cut it in half, and there's 4 chambers, just like the heart. I
Yeah.
mean, we could go on and on. Some call it folk wisdom, and then there's water.
Yeah.
And back in the mid 1800s, in a little town about 500 miles south of France, it's called Lourdes,
Hmm.
France.
Yeah.
I actually, and this is just, I'm telling you kind of a roundabout version because we get back to the basics of water. And people say, well, I know I'm supposed to drink more water. I'm not talking about regular water. When I was 21 years old, I'm in the south of France doing a service mission,
Yeah.
and I see people lined up, and I had heard that there were pilgrimages,
Right.
thousands and thousands of people coming to this little city wanting to drink the water, bathe in the water, get in the water of this healing spring
Right.
of this miraculous event that happened there.
Okay.
And I had to see it for myself. I looked, I checked it all out, and people have been going there. People could Google it today and just
Yeah.
go type up Lourdes, Lourdes, France, and
Yeah.
what happened there. And that people still go today to get the water. And when we ultimately look at it, Anthony, the Japanese went down there, and there's these little healing springs around the globe.
Hmm.
And they tested the water and realized it had high concentrations of molecular hydrogen.
Right.
Which,
Okay.
and so I just start doing some digging and some research on my own as this became into my consciousness, my awareness of
Yeah.
what this was. Like you were saying, how have I not heard about it? Why haven't we been told about this? I mean, hydrogen, if you go back to 8th grade science, now all of a sudden the lights start coming on the periodic table. Hydrogen's, kind of up in the corner. It's the very first element.
Right. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
because it's the lightest, it's the smallest, and
Yeah.
for a little gee whiz, it's colorless, odorless, and it's tasteless.
Right.
But it makes up 75% of the mass of every star you see in the sky, our sun,
Right.
the planet. And all of a sudden, I started thinking, life maybe leaves clues.
I think it does.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
so maybe we don't need less hydrogen, we need more hydrogen.
Okay.
Maybe that's what's creating these healing events. Maybe that's the building block of the universe, of our life-giving sun. And maybe it could be a building block that I could get into my life in a
Yeah.
greater amount.
So you're
And
thrown in a mission, really, aren't you,
oh,
Craig? You're literally thrown into this.
oh yeah. And I had to figure this out because we live in a day today where kids think they're health nuts when it says 10% juice on their candy, right? And it's all marketing, right? Or their cereal, they're getting Apple Jacks, Crunch Berries,
Yeah.
Fruit Loops.
Yeah. That's the five of the day, that is.
Right, exactly. And it's just so backwards, and it's like a fog out there when
Yeah.
maybe the answers are right in front of us. And I believe one of those key answers has made its way into my life,
Mm.
and it's molecular hydrogen. It's H2.
Right.
That's the molecular chemical makeup of hydrogen.
Okay.
And you got to figure, how can I get it in me? And so
Yes.
when a buddy of mine told me about molecular hydrogen, he said, you got to start drinking this, Craig. And I'm like, oh, I've seen it all. I mean, I've been doing this for 22 years. I've looked at every supplement, I feel like everything. But I had, just like you, I had never heard of hydrogen.
No,
I
never.
mean, except for the periodic table from 8th grade science, let
Yeah.
alone did I know that you could ingest it. I've heard of hydrogen gas. I thought it was a Hindenburg, and it was, going to blow up, right?
Exactly. That's where I was going to go. You
Yeah.
heard of like the hydrogen kind of bomb or whatever, that
Huh?
kind of thing. But yeah.
Exactly. And he was kind enough to get me a device, this particular machine that allows you to both drink it
Hmm.
and or breathe it in, inhale it.
Okay.
Well, so I was going to be open, right? As a friend, I wanted to look at it.
Yeah.
Within 2 months of drinking it every day, about 1.5 liters a day,
Yeah.
I was completely off ibuprofen.
If you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at Drake, Michigan, please subscribe, ring my bell, and let's enjoy this journey together. That's incredible. That. Did you? I presume you were feeling the change. Otherwise, for 2 months, you going for 2 months.
It wasn't just all of a sudden I'm going to the gym and I take my ibuprofen, and then one night I'm like, I'm okay, I don't need it.
Brilliant.
And
That's amazing.
all of a sudden I start, and then it was so pronounced that it wasn't even a thought to take it, nor was anything aching. And then I started hearing more stories that it wasn't just maybe for joints. And then I started doing research, realizing that hydrogen has been researched with over 2,000 scientific articles on 170 different disease models. And anybody can look this up. This isn't happen to be because of who I'm associated with. This is all independent research. You can go to look at the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. There's all kinds of resources out there that are independent, studying hydrogen. Japan's been at the forefront of this research. In fact, it is so prevalent there. They have it in their hospitals, in their clinics, in ambulances. They'll even put hydrogen gas on people, having them breathe in hydrogen rather than oxygen.
Yeah. And you wouldn't hear of that normally.
Yeah, no. It seems so foreign, and it seems so. It just seems so simple to me that this gas, because it's the smallest molecule in existence, right?
Mhm.
It can pass through the cell membrane
Right.
and even the blood-brain barrier to clear out inflammation and
Right.
free radical damage. It leaves alone the good free radicals, right? Because there are some, right? It's a selective antioxidant. People usually think antioxidants and they might think blueberries, right? As example.
Yeah, sure.
But a blueberry is like driving a Mack truck into your body compared to hydrogen as an antioxidant, right? What we're trying to fight is this oxidation, and this oxidation creates inflammation, hence my joints.
Right.
No inflammation. So if it goes in and targets the inflammation or the oxidation or these free radicals that are causing the inflammation, all of a sudden it dissipates and there's no more inflammation, because inflammation essentially, and oxidation is the source of all disease.
Yeah.
Things get inflamed. And
Yeah.
that can lead to diabetes, to cancer, to macular degeneration, to skin issues, to anything in the body almost that you can think of. I've looked at research and looked at studies where drinking or breathing hydrogen has helped.
It's like we do consume shocking material daily, don't we? And it's kind of put, like you say about marketing, it's pushed upon the kids, but it's been pushed upon us. I can go back in sort of like my childhood, and in the UK, McDonald's arrived in the UK in the 80s. And
So
I remember,
sorry.
yeah, you should be.
I'm going to apologize on behalf of the United States.
we used to see there was one McDonald's in our town that arrived in the 80s, and it was a big event for us. And then to go to a McDonald's restaurant was a big deal. Now there's 4, 5 in the town, and people are so busy in their lives that it's just it's so easy just to drive through and grab one of these burgers and some whatever it is. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
And that's the world now.
yeah, it's a fast food microwave generation. We want it now. We don't even want to take the time to get an apple and cut it up and maybe, or just bite it and chew it. It's like, oh, that's work.
You can see it in the supermarkets. The people are buying packets with fruit actually cut up for them, aren't they?
Absolutely.
In plastic, mind as well.
Yeah, everything's processed, cut up, sprayed.
Sprayed. Yeah, exactly.
For preservatives. And all I wanted, as I discovered, is I put my clean water into this device and I drink it. I didn't want to change anything I was doing, meaning I'm already drinking water every day. That was kind of a test for me.
Yeah.
I'm already drinking water every day. All I need to do is drink this water.
This water, yeah.
And I don't have to go and interrupt my day. And I can drink this water. And so that made sense to my brain that there was this technology to give me access to something so natural and so accessible and has been studied so seriously.
Yeah.
And then I start having friends that are on it, and their hands are transforming from a plumber of 20 years. Maybe I'll send you an image that you can share with your listeners. And his hands went from looking like Frankenstein. I mean, just disfigured because of glues and chemicals. And within 2 months, I know his brother personally, his hands completely transformed. He touches his kids' faces again.
Oh, wow.
Worried about snagging their faces and their hair because they were so rough and disfigured. I have a sweet friend named Dr. Sunny. She's a naturopath. In her hairline, she had growing this precancerous growth, right? I mean, we all start getting them on our skin eventually. She starts drinking within, again, 2 months. It's really strange about the 2 months, but it just happened to be for at least 3 of us. Within 2 months, the growth started disappearing. Wow. And within 2 months, this precancerous growth in her hairline that was about the size of my thumbnail is completely gone.
Wow, that's amazing.
Again, back to what we said, the body does the miracle. The body knows what to do with the raw material. The raw material, hydrogen, comes in, and to me, it's like a disease-seeking missile. It goes wherever you need it. And for you, it might be a tumor. It might be something related to your sugars and regulating your sugars and acting almost like an insulin. For me, it was my joints. For others, it's IBS. For others, it's their eyesight. We have people taking droppers and just putting the water right in their eyes. You don't have to. the miracle works from the inside out, right? The body
Right.
does the miracle.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, people are giving it to their pets every single day. It's safe for kids, pregnant women. Of course, we say always consult your healthcare physician, right? We're not doctors.
Of course, you have to have that disclaimers, even though you know it works. I know.
I'm just a person having an
Yeah.
experience, and now I want to tell everybody about it because something that I've been dealing with since I was 25, and the after effects.
Mm.
It's exciting. We've got one gentleman. He was in a wheelchair. You mentioned Greg, the hydrogen man. Go look
Yeah.
up. Your readers or viewers can go and look at his story. He was in a wheelchair and he couldn't even use a remote control.
Yeah, he was very poorly. I remember the story. He was very poor.
Horrible. His
Yeah.
dad had horrible issues with his eyes, glaucoma.
That's
And
right.
it took 3 years, but his glaucoma was completely reversed. And I'm like, if somebody told me and I had glaucoma and my eyesight's going to just, the trash,
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody told me, Craig, just drink this for 3 years and your glaucoma could go away.
The thing is, you would never want to not drink it, would you?
Right. It's
Well,
water.
It's
It's
water. Yeah.
water with hydrogen added. It's added hydrogen. And that's the key. People say, well, don't we already have hydrogen? Well, isn't every breath, H2O? There's the H. But this is molecular hydrogen. This is 2 H's. And it's split apart from the oxygen. So it's got this really light bond. And that's how it can go in the body and grab onto those harmful free radicals. And then it just grabs the electron and then it just dissipates. And it's just when the simplest things are the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know they are.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
But when it's something that can actually change the course and direction of your health, that's when I got excited. Because
There's so much to be said, Craig, about what we consume. Again, though, in terms like you were saying, we are given the option of Big Pharma's option of a plaster cap. It's just an elastoplast, really, isn't it? On the issue, and you will still have that, but you must take this chemical synthetic drug maybe for the rest of your life, or change a few things, and like you say, introduce something that's going to benefit your cells in a natural way.
Right.
That sounds beautiful.
Right. I mean, maybe eat a little better, get a little more exercise, get outside, start walking. Walk. I don't care if you walk 10 feet, do 1 push-up, right? I mean, I'm just saying it's these little things. And how about just drink? And, my friend said, you got to just try it. Just try it. You're going to see. And boy, I've seen. I'm excited.
Yeah, I bet you are. Can I ask regarding water? It does interest me. So when last year I had a bit of a self-healing journey last year. So through the crazy period of 2020 onwards.
Oh yeah.
I ran a pub, and we lost our business sort of towards the end of 21. And with that came exhaustion, effectively, and fear and everything else regarding how I was going to keep food on our family table and a roof over our heads, etc., etc. So I went through this sort of self-healing situation, and I learned from studying more about water. Now, I'd never heard of, for example, structured water.
Yeah.
That was new to me. I'm like, well, what's that all about?
Right.
Tap water, obviously, was a big thing. Fluoride. As someone who's been trying to spiritually develop over a number of years, I've been cutting out as much as I can fluoride, with it being in the toothpaste and things like that. But it was still like so accessible to use tap water. And then a couple of years ago, I bought a distiller, and I
Right.
started using a distiller, and I don't drink tap water at all now. I just refuse. But I am keen to learn more and improve more because I know nothing. This is just me on my journey.
No, right. And obviously the cleaner, the better. And what's nice about hydrogen and drinking it, as long as you're using clean water, whatever that means to you, it doesn't have to be distilled. It doesn't have to be reverse osmosis. You don't have to hook up anything to your tap, right? There, you can. I want to make that clear. Or maybe you've got some type of a home filter just that fits in your fridge that you fill up and filters out
Yeah.
XYZ, right?
Yeah.
Some of the chlorine and the issues and some of the heavy metals and things like that. And we're inviting you, boy, just start drinking. The cleaner, the better, right?
Yeah.
Just like the air. Man, I love getting up to the mountains. We have a little tiny camper. We take it up and you go up there and you can just breathe deeper and you're drinking your clean water and moving around a bit and you become revived. So I'm glad you talked about the structured water. The device I've come across is the first device I'm aware of that actually makes structured hydrogen water.
Oh,
They call
wow.
it super nano bubbles that structure it in such a way because of the membrane and device that they've developed. The Japanese, brilliant engineers. In fact, the man who put the whole thing together, his daughter had Lou Gehrig's disease. And she
Right.
was supposed to die when she was 5 years old. And now she's a teenager. And he put this all together. Again, very common in Japan, but I don't know what the Western medicine, again, maybe big pharma, whatever you want to call it. How about we just get back to basics? And here this man put this together to create the smallest possible particle structure when it comes through. So all you're getting in your water is pure hydrogen, because that's all you want. And you don't want it happening in your water. Some people ask, how there's different ways to get hydrogen. And I would just like only pure hydrogen to be added to my water. I don't want anything else in my water. I don't want the pH changed. I don't want chlorine added. I don't want potentially lye added. I don't want other elements or minerals added, right? If people want to add minerals, liquid minerals to their water after they've poured it, go for it. But let's just give you the good stuff, right? The pure stuff. And then you can decide what you want to add to it.
There's when I came across holy hydrogen last year,
Yeah.
I remember looking for kit and just seeing, as you do, you go on the internet and you're having a look, and there's all sorts of different ones. But from my understanding, when I watched the Santos video, was some of these items can be dangerous. They can give you the opposite. You've got to be very careful. You don't just rush out and buy something without the knowledge.
Do your research. Exactly. Oh, Anthony, you're so right, because what I hope, because there's a lot of wannabe little products, because hydrogen's starting to really become a buzz a little bit. And so there's a lot of just garbage parts, spinning the water, making it seem like it's doing something. And again, one of the key things is you want to have that separation. Whatever's happening in that process, in that chemical reaction to break apart the hydrogen and the oxygen to give you the hydrogen, you want that happening away from your water. In my opinion, you don't want that happening inside your water, because there's whatever's creating that inside your water is also giving you other residual things and ingredients that you may or may not be aware of.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and there's lots of different ways to get it. There's several different machines. Some of them are very expensive, $10,000-$15,000.
Wow.
Just to create the hydrogen. And some Some just do water, some do gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the case of the Lourdes Hydrofix, again, full circle back to the story I told you when I was 21 in Lourdes, France.
Yeah.
When my friend told me the name of the machine, he says, it's the Lourdes Hydrofix. I said, Lourdes. He said, like Lourdes, France? And I could not believe that here I was at 21 in Lourdes, France, drinking the water. And years later, here I am now associated with something I truly believe in called the Lourdes Hydrofix. And of all names coming out of Japan, and they named it, you know what I mean? It's
Synchronicity, that though.
It just kind of, blew my mind.
Yeah, written in the stars, that one, Craig.
Yeah,
You were meant to be doing this.
Fun. It was really kind of fun. And yeah, people need to be wise. They need to do their research. Go look it up. Do the independent search. Make sure, because not all hydrogen is created equal, meaning not all hydrogen devices or methodologies or tools, because it's just a tool, right? It's a tool to give me what I need, are created equal. And it's just powerful that something so small that fits on a counter that's about the size of a coffee maker, you just fill it up and you push a button, and 30 minutes later, or 10 minutes if it's half full, you've got fully saturated hydrogen water. And if you want to change out the lid with the cannula that comes with it, you can. A lot of people work from home. A lot of people want to meditate in the morning or evening and just relax, even while they're watching TV or reading a book. You can literally put on the special cannula that comes with it, the breathing cannula.
Oh, yeah.
Lid, and you can just sit there. And now it's going directly up into the brain.
Wow.
The hydrogen. And the stories we're hearing, this sweet lady named Judy, we've all got aging parents. My parents are both 81 years old. We had a sweet daughter send us an email. Her mom's 82 in long-term care, started giving her hydrogen water and having her breathe hydrogen.
Yeah.
And within 17 days, the story's on the site, but within 17 days, she was able to get out of her wheelchair and start using a fork again and talking to staff.
Wow.
Something's going on. And there's a lot of studies on dementia, Alzheimer's, ischemia, brain issues, brain trauma. And you start breathing it and what it can do, because it goes right up through that olfactory nerve. And here we are. I'm just telling you, I'm just so
It's amazing.
excited. Yeah.
Do you think that's cleaning like the heavy metals and stuff like that as well, getting rid of all that?
Yeah. Any inflammation. I mean, it targets inflammation, period.
Right.
And
It's amazing.
Your body's just transformed.
And people queuing at a spring, a natural spring, says everything. That would have been going on for centuries, wouldn't it? People would have known that water had healing property.
Yes, since like
1856,
58, somewhere in there. 1858. I just pulled up a note. Yeah, 1858.
Wow.
Wow.
That's so cool. So that's yours in the background, I can see. The one
that's mine. I don't know if you can see. There's some little lights in there. All they're doing there on this side is just illuminating, so you can see the hydrogen bubbles coming up. The hydrogen molecules, the ions coming up into the water.
Oh, yeah.
And then literally, you just pull off the lid, pour it in, push one button, just like I did this morning, like I do every morning. 30 minutes later, I'm pouring hydrogen all day, and people say, "Well, how long does it last in the pitcher?" Like, what if I drink some and I go run some errands? It'll stay that saturated at 1.6 parts per million. And that's full therapeutic grade saturation. There's some people out there claiming just crazy things. And it's like saturation is saturation. The therapeutic grade is therapeutic grade. Sometimes more is not better, if they can even show that. And of course, each of the machines is tested. So if this is Japan, I don't know if people have been to Japan. They wrap each individual apple in the store. I mean, each one is like a present. Yeah, I mean, everything is done at such a high level. The engineering is so incredible. And it's just powerful. You just pull off the lid, pour it in, push the button, and I'm drinking all day, and it'll stay that way for up to 12 hours in that pitcher, fully saturated.
So that's how you do it. You actually pour water into it, and then it will do the job for you. So you don't have to. It's not being connected to your.
Nothing, just
No.
plugged
Okay.
in. And
Yeah.
I've got a little pitcher I keep in my fridge.
Yeah.
I just filter my own water, and then I just pour it in. And
Right. Get you. I get you. Okay. So what? Because like you were saying before, some of these items are very expensive. What kind of price is this kit?
oh yeah, no, it retails for $24.99, and some people
Yeah.
might say, "Wow, it's an investment." And
Yeah.
I, people want to look at it as a cost or an expense. There's plenty of things I spend my money on, and one of those things is going to be health. And
Yeah.
as like somebody said once, you're either going to pay for sickness or you're going to pay for health. But
Mm,
either way, you're going to pay, and I choose to pay for health. And what's
yeah.
nice is it's one device. You buy it once and just keep on drinking.
Yeah.
There's only one cartridge in it. It comes with it
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
and that only needs to be replaced once every about 1 to 4 years, we're finding, depending on use.
Right.
So if
Okay.
there's a whole family of like 5, that's what's beautiful about this from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
A whole family can just drink on it all day long. You just keep pouring and then reset, pour, reset, and it does its thing. And breathe as much as you want, or drink as much as you want. So yeah, that's the cost. It's the number one device in Japan, and now it's available for the world.
It's one of those things. What I've noticed, especially over the past few years, again, Craig, is we've got to a point, or a lot of us have got to the point where we have no faith in our health service anymore that's being
Right.
provided for us. So we really do need to become more self-sufficient in our own health and stop looking to damage ourselves and then look for a cure, but maybe looking for a prevention and kind of looking after ourselves a little bit better so we don't end up going into these situations. I mean, you can't help emergencies as such, these things do happen, but yeah, I mean, that's something that I realized last year, especially last year when I was doing my own self-healing journey, was I need to take more responsibility for myself.
Wow. Profound, right? It's
Yeah.
really victim versus responsible, right? We might choose to make a bad lifetime of bad decisions, right? Of poor eating, poor diet, poor
Oh,
this,
yeah.
whatever vices we're doing, and then try to show up to a doctor and say, "Fix me,
Exactly.
fix me
Yeah,
now."
exactly.
And I mean, that's why I was so shocked for me that I thought I was going to be on ibuprofen. I'll just use that as an example, right? For the
Mhm.
rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, now I'm ibuprofen free and drinking water, more water than probably I ever have
Mhm.
on a daily basis. Yeah, and what's great, you can just pour the glass and you drink it. It doesn't have to be a big glass. You can just pour it, drink it. If you want to set it on the counter for a minute, because it'll dissipate, right? The hydrogen will leave that glass within an hour.
Right, okay. Okay, so you would be wise to say somebody's off to the office for the day, they'd be wise to drink some before work maybe,
Yep.
and then do it again when they come back. So
Right.
maybe taking it with them is not the absolute answer, but it's still better water than what they're going to get from a tap.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, of course, the health benefits, the studies, and it's really interesting. The Japanese came up with this incredible 5-layer bag that will hold that people can transport with them to work or
Hmm.
to the gym, and it will keep the hydrogen in there for up to a week.
Wow.
Because it doesn't deal with airspace at all. It's
Yeah.
amazing technology, and it's finally available, and we found it, and we're using it, and we're sharing it. People are drinking, breathing, changing their lives.
I bet they are. How long has this product been on market now then?
Uh, it's been in Japan roughly from around 2016,
Really? Yeah.
17. Yeah. And it just keeps getting better. I mean, the hydrogen doesn't get better, but it's the interface might improve a little bit. Maybe the way you push a button might feel
Yes.
better. It just like our phones, right? I mean, we started with these gigantic things that was the size of a loaf of bread, and now, of course, and nobody would ever guess what they can do. I mean, you look at it and just say, oh, that's, if you looked at an iPhone just sitting on it, with no screen or anything, you'd kind of look and go, but what's under the hood? And that's the same as the Hydrofix. You look at it and say, it's nice. They put the money and the engineering into the technology itself. They could have built a very expensive machine, a $10,000 machine,
Yeah.
to just do water and make it metal. And I mean, but then you can't ship it. It's heavy. They took the best of everything they could to really, I believe, give the consumer so that it could be on every counter in the world, just plugged in.
It would be good to see these kind of kits in schools and
Wow.
in health centers, wouldn't it? It'd be amazing what if the children were given this opportunity to be drinking much better water than they are. That would be such a much better world, wouldn't it? It's a shame that we are in this inverted world. We are in this upside down planet, but it's great. Yeah, it's great that you guys are putting a product out there that is gonna change lives and benefit people. I believe you've been kind enough as well to allow our viewers a bit of discount as well if they use Drake Michigan as a coupon as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So we'll make sure that that's in the description.
$100 off. That'll help towards shipping, right? Everything ships out of the US. We are looking we're actively looking for, European distributors so that we can get things a little closer. But the $100 off with the Drake Michigan coupon, that'll at least help.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. And we'll create an element on our website as well, Craig, and hopefully we can help push what is a marvelous product that's helping people, because that's what the mission is.
Yeah. We've got to educate each other. We got to help each other. We got to bring the best to each other, because I'm not counting on big pharma.
I wouldn't count on big pharma.
And nor do I want to be on pills. So I took one pill out of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very hopeful for the future. Hey, Anthony, thanks a lot.
No, thank you, Craig, and I appreciate your time. And hopefully we'll speak again at some point in the future. But I will make sure everything's in place on the description below.
Great.
And hopefully we'll hear some life-changing stories.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, hey, have a fantastic day, sir.
You too, Craig. Thank you so much, sir. And I will speak to you again.